Happy New Year everyone, this is Alex here from Ninja Teacher, and I know this is a time where everyone is setting New Year's resolutions and it's a great time for that. And maybe lately you've been watching lots of travel videos and you want to travel the world, or you're just tired of your current job, or maybe you want to do something fun and exciting and push your comfort zone a little bit, or you've dreamed of living abroad in a foreign country. And you may have come across teaching English in Vietnam as a great way to live abroad in a new country, earn a good income and make a difference. And you might be considering if 2023 is the year that you're going to go ahead with it. In this video, I'm going to cover how you can achieve this goal. First, I want to cover what I think is the most important factor that will contribute towards you achieving this goal, and then we'll go into more of the practical details around it. And it all starts with asking yourself one simple question. I recently came across a psychological concept called the question behavior effect. Researchers found that if you write down a question to yourself with pen and paper about whether you're going to do something or not, and then you answer in the affirmative, then you are significantly more likely to follow through with doing that thing. So you can go ahead and try this. Write down, am I going to teach English abroad in 2023? And then write down yes or no. What I like about this deceptively simple exercise, and I think the power of why it works, is that you can't add in any excuses or conditions or justifications. You have to put a simple yes or no answer. And that very direct confirmation to yourself is going to help you follow through and achieve this goal. So the point I'm getting at here is you need to make this commitment to yourself that this is the year you're going to go on this journey and make this happen. There are always factors in life that can hold you back and prevent you from doing something. And sometimes those factors are important enough that you'll decide that now is not the right time to do it. And that's okay. So the point here is to reflect, look at your values and see if this is something important to you. And if it is, then it is something you should push through and make that commitment to yourself about. Because if moving abroad is something that excites you and that you want to do, the single biggest factor that will ensure this will happen is making that commitment to yourself that this is something you're going to do, and that it's something you're going to do within a given time frame. For example, this year. The practical details, the steps that you need to take, they're all unimportant in the grand scheme of things. You'll take care of those when you get to them. When obstacles and roadblocks arise, you'll have that commitment to push you through, to get past those, whereas someone who doesn't have that commitment is more likely to give up along the way. So you've decided you want to go ahead with it and made a commitment to yourself. What next? What about all the practical details of how to start teaching abroad? Well, the good news is there is a step-by-step process. So it's not an issue of you having to figure out how to do it, because there is a process you can follow. And it's not always going to be easy, and there are a lot of steps that you need to take, and it does require effort and dedication. However, there is this process that you can follow to achieve this goal. So bearing that in mind, let's take a look at what are some of the most important practical factors that you should focus on during this process. The first thing to consider is to save up to cover your startup costs. Yes, we're talking about getting hired in a job that will pay you, but unlike getting a job in your home country, you will be moving to a new country as well as starting in a new career, so there are startup costs involved. These startup costs include things such as your flight to Vietnam, your visa, document authentication, living expenses in Vietnam until you receive your first salary, teaching certification, apartment deposit, and other expenses. Most schools in Vietnam will not cover the majority of these startup costs, with the exception of your visa and work permits. And while you can recoup these costs over time with the good salaries and affordable living expenses, you do need to save up to have these living expenses and other startup costs up front to be able to start teaching English in Vietnam. You can download a full list of all the startup costs to consider, as well as our latest total estimate of the costs in our free Vietnam startup guide, which I'll include the link below in the description. So what does that mean for you? Well, you need to save up the money to make this happen. So you may need to save a few $100s a month for the next few months to reach your target. Or sell your car, or cut down on unnecessary luxury comforts, get a second job, or even move in with your family for a little while you're saving up. It may take pushing yourself a little bit, but you can save up a few $1,000s given the right amount of effort and time. So set a time frame, set a goal, execute on it, and then on to the next step. The next most important factor is choosing the right teaching certification program. To teach English in Vietnam, a bachelor's degree in any subject plus a teaching certification such as a TEFL or TESOL is a Vietnamese government requirement to legally teach in the country. So this is a must for teaching English in Vietnam. You do need to get a TEFL or TESOL or equivalent teaching certification. So what do you need to consider when choosing the right TEFL course? Well, the single biggest factor that will determine your success at getting a job will be the quality of your TEFL course. Employers in Vietnam absolutely can tell the ability of new teachers based on the TEFL certification that they took. And that's because employers know what TEFL certifications are on the market. They know the reputation of these different companies, and they know what's included in the courses, and they can even tell in interviews with you if you know what you're talking about based on the course that you took. These schools do not have the resources to train English teachers from scratch, so they will always choose the teacher that has the better quality training over those that have taken a low quality TEFL course. As we've discussed in previous videos, the job market in Vietnam is very good right now. However, schools do expect you to have the basic ability and understanding of concepts to be an effective ESL teacher in order to hire you. And schools do know what to look for during the hiring process, including looking through your resume and speaking to you during interviews and asking you questions that help them to determine if you're a good fit for their company. You're already going to be investing a significant amount into making the move abroad, so I highly recommend that you don't try and save a few bucks in this area and then end up losing a job to another applicant who took a better quality course. And bear in mind that not all schools are equal. You really want to look at getting a job at a school that has good management, that sponsors you to work legally in the country, that has good benefits and salary, and so you want a shot at getting a job at one of these more reputable schools in Vietnam. Here are a few of the features that employers look for in a TEFL course that you can look out for when you're choosing yours. In-classroom practical training, or at the very least, online video recorded sessions of practical training, live interactive training, whether that's in the classroom or at least on Zoom or other online platforms like that, well-qualified and experienced trainers, not someone who's just been a teacher for a few years and doesn't have any further experience or qualifications. A course that gives you practical teaching experience with real learners that's going into a real classroom and actually teaching students so that you have that experience under your belt and you can put that on your resume. Observed teaching practice, this is really big. Actually getting feedback from an experienced trainer on your teaching in the classroom to get feedback and know that you're improving and assessed on that level of teaching. Feedback on your lesson plans, in-country support from the team, preferably a team that is based in the country that you want to go to so they know the local markets, and then generally the reputation that they have among employers. If you've chosen a good TEFL course and put in the effort with that, then finding a job is actually not the hard part. Getting the skill set to be a good teacher and then demonstrating that to schools is the way to get a job. And besides getting a good job, you also want to have that confidence for yourself that you feel ready to step into a classroom and be a good teacher, as well as give the students that you're teaching the opportunity to learn from someone who knows what they're doing and that you can actually make a difference and help these students that you have better futures, learn English. So with a good quality TEFL certification in hand, you'll be ready to get your first job and have the best possible job options available to you. So to summarize, you're going to make that commitment to yourself that this is the year it's going to happen. Save up the necessary startup costs to get started, and then go ahead and choose the right TEFL certification for you. Remember, you can download our free Vietnam startup guide at the link in the description below. You can check out our TEFL programs at ninjateacher.com. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to watch a video about what day-to-day life is like in Vietnam, you can watch this video over here right now. Speak to you soon in a new video. Peace.